Hello, fourth graders. Today's lesson is lesson 10-2. We're on page 389 in your Envision book. The visual learning video that you already watched and followed page 390. If you have not already done that, how can we multiply a fraction by a whole number? Please stop this video and do visual learning first, and then come back to our lesson. Solve and share. How much tomato juice is needed for a group of 4 people if each person gets 1/3 cup of juice? How much tomato juice is needed if each person gets 2/3 cup of juice? So we've got 2 problems here. Solve these problems any way you choose. Since we've used a number line in the past, let's try that again. We're at 0. We're dealing with thirds. 1/3 cup. I'm going to show you 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, which equals 1 whole. But we can go further. 1 and 1/3. This, of course, would be 2/3. 1 and 2/3. I was just trying to show you each of these is 1/3. Now remember, when you write a fraction 1/3, you can write it and you often see it on the computer with the slash. That means the same thing as this 1/3. Now each of these are 1/3. We've got 4 people getting 1/3 cup each. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people having 1/3 cup each would be 1 and 1/3 cups. So 4 times 1/3 equals 4/3, 1, 2, 3, 4, which equals 1 and 1/3. Now we need to look at what if each person gets 2/3 cup of juice. 1/3 and 1/3 makes 2/3. Again, this is why you use pencil. I'm using the erasable pens. You can see it on the video, but 2/3. Here's another 2/3. There's 1/3 and 1/3 makes 2/3. And our 4th person gets 2/3. So we've got 1 and 2/3. That would become 2 whole. 2 and 1/3, 2 and 2/3. We're adding 1/3 each. 1. 1/3 and 1/3 makes 2/3. 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So if each person has 2/3, we know that 4 times 2 equals 8, and our denominator stays the same. We know that they're 3/3. This equals 3/3 plus 3/3. That makes 6/3. We'd have 2 left over, which means 1 whole plus 1 whole. So that equals 2 and 2/3, which is what we got on the number line. So what I did here is kind of jumping ahead. When you multiply a whole number times a fraction, you are simply multiplying the whole number times the other numerator. 4 times 2 is 8. You can put this over 1 to remind yourself that it's just 1 times 3. The denominator stays the same. Okay, and this was our answer, 8/3. We just went ahead and broke it down. We decomposed 8/3 to be 3/3 plus 3/3 plus 2/3. To simplify, this is called a simplified answer. This is because this is an improper fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. All right, that's quite a bit. Let's go ahead and look at another example. How far did Jess bike to practice? If he biked 3/5 miles each day for 4 days. Page 391. So 1/5, 1/5, 1/5 is 3/5. That's day 1. Day 2, he does the same thing, 3/5. Day 3, day 4, 1/5, 1/5, 3/5. Okay? So we add those together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fifths. If I added all of these fifths together, I'd get 12 fifths. 12 fifths is the same as 3/5 plus 3/5 plus 3/5 plus 3/5. We're going to decompose our 12 fifths. We know that 5 fifths makes a whole. Another 5 fifths to make 10 fifths equals a whole. We'd have 2 left over. So that's 1 whole makes 2 and 2 fifths. So Jess bikes 2 and 2 fifths miles. If we were using multiplication, we have 4 days. Each day bikes 3 fifths. So 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 5 is 5. That's 12 fifths. Again, we decompose 12 fifths and simplify our fraction to get 2 and 2 fifths. So draw a picture to explain how to find 3 times 2 fifths. So this is the same if we were to draw a picture like the one above. If we did 1/5 and 1/5, that's our 2 fifths. Okay, that's 1 time. So 1/5, 1/5, that's 2 fifths. 1/5, 1/5, that's our 2 fifths. So we've got 1, 2, 3 times 2 fifths. If we add those up, we've got 1/5, 2 fifths, 3 fifths, 4 fifths, 5 fifths, 6 fifths. Or again, we can multiply the whole number times the numerator to get 6. And if this helps, put it over 1. 3 is the same as 3 over 1. 1 times 5 is 5. We've just multiplied a whole number times a fraction. Or we can add these. 2 fifths plus 2 more makes 4 fifths plus 2 more makes 6 fifths. Do you know how? Write and solve a multiplication equation. We've got 1, 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are 6. 2 are there. So this is 2 times 2 sixths, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Or 2 times 2 is 4 over 6. Number 3 is a different model. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. Each jump is 2/3. 1, 2/3, 1, 2/3, 1, 2/3, 1, 2/3. So we've got 4 times 2/3. 4 times 2 is 8 thirds, which equals, as we see on our number line, we'll break it down. We'll decompose it and show you how we get 2 and 2/3. 8 thirds is the same as 3 thirds plus 3 thirds because that's 6 thirds with 2 left over. So this is 1 whole, this is 1 whole, plus our 2 thirds, and we get the same answer as we do here. Now it's your turn for independent practice, page 391, 4 through 7, and then I run the back 13 and 14.